And his opponent, he needs something a little bit more specific, but he's going to give it his all nonetheless. For Team Envy, it is DRG. He's in the game.
Wow. That's a throwback.
I've resisted that the whole time, and I had, this was my last opportunity, so I had to do it.
You know, I mean, technically Steadfast, next game, or the game after that would be your last opportunity, so, that's questionable.
I mean, yeah, that is true. That is true. But if I wait until game 2, then, you know, it's like, well, why didn't you say it in game 1? And if, but at the same time, it's like, well, game 2 could be the last one, and then game 3 happens, and I look like a fool. So now I can just do it all 2 or 3 games. And, you know, I've covered all my bases. I'm thinking game theory wise here. Speaking of game theory, we got both players going for the hatch gas pool. Neither of them going to go for a quick speedling flood. Neither of them going to go for a 12 pool. We're not going to see a 13-12 Ling Bane all in. We're not going to see what Dark has been doing a little bit of, which I do want to talk about that build a little bit because it's a cool build. While there's nothing happening in the early game of ZVZ, Dark has come up with a build where he will go for, normally you look at this, you look at a hatch gas pool, you're like, okay, 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool. Cool. We get our Ling speed when we get it. It's not really a big deal. You see, oh, Solar's got the Ling speed a second faster. Who cares? It's no big deal. It's nothing. But Dark has come up with a 16 hatch. I want to say it's a 15 gas, 15 pool, or like 16 gas, 15 pool. Either way, he gets the gas almost immediately and the pool almost right thereafter. And he still drones up behind it, but he cuts drones for a little bit, prioritizes that gas mining, goes straight up to full saturation, and he ends up getting his speed about 20 to 25 seconds earlier. And he hits and just tries to straight up kill his opponent. And it is something that he came up with very recently. If he had waited to debut it at at IEM Katowice, he probably could have beaten some very top tier Zergs in some really important matches. But that's not who Dark is. Dark finds the new toy and he'll play with it right away. Regardless, it's going to be something that we'll watch for in this series and watch for if Dark plays ZVZ in the future.
Yeah, you know, I Steadfast, you talk about fun builds. I'm a little disappointed, right? We don't have any of those like 14, 13, 12 type of ideas. I'm absolutely expanding speedling all-ins, but I guess in fairness, that build you're talking about from Dark is just a much more evolved version of that. So
yes, yeah.
That's actually a super cool evolution because it used to be 12, 11, 10, right? That was the build that Scarlet used to kill. Oh, no. It was like 13,
no, there's 14,
11.
13, 12 was
okay.
Rogue.
Yeah. Scarlet used to kill Rogue. And then we've started to see like the evolution of that build as it has started to get a little bit greedier and a little bit greedier over time. But for now, both players are joining up. Solar on the other side of the map, looking for a little bit of value, but both players have a Baneling. Queen's going to be able to micro back, and well, actually, that's a couple more Lings here for Solar than it is for DRG. Luckily, though, Banelings do a great job of zoning right now. Even still, Solar, that's a decent amount of pressure.
Yes. Okay, so this is more pressure than we normally see in this situation. He's trying to cover, by the way, for his Overlord to make sure it gets out. So the reason Solar went for this, I think, is that the Baneling nest was not put to the front. DRG actually hides it in the back. Solar checked the front. He was thinking that maybe there might have been an opening for him. Ooh, nice Spore Crawler trick from DRG. Very nice right there. But he was, I think, expecting that there wasn't any aggression or there wasn't a Baneling nest, so Solar was going to try and punish this a little bit and maybe get a kill or, you know, a cancel on the third base, find something. Wasn't the case. Lings will flood in on the other side of the map. They're going to be able to find one drone. I think he should have just gone for the drones right away. Gets his opponent's Baneling. Very nice from DRG. Both players have droned up, but a small little advantage for DRG in the initial stage. Drone count will swing back in his favor. Oh, actually, hang on. This is very dangerous right now. There's no Banelings left over. The Banes, or the Lings from Solar, just barely avoiding this, but he's going to lose quite a few queens. Finally, the Baneling does go down. I think that might have been a manual detonation. No. Solar does hold, but that got really scary.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to manually detonate and kill like 10 Lings, but unfortunately he pulls it back. Maybe he manually detonated at the end of the day. I actually think the Queen killed it. But missed opportunities for DRG regardless. But look at what's coming behind this. All roads lead to Carapace timing. This is kind of how ZVZ in Korea has been happening recently. So that's what DRG is going for, and I like his Evo chamber positioning. What are you talking about, Theo? It's an Evo at the front. Sorry?
Fake layer? Yeah, fake layer.
Fake layer. Okay, that's super cool. But anyways, Evo at the front, right? That's just standard. But often in these Carapace timings, you'll have the Evo hidden behind the natural. So for all intents and purposes, especially with a fake layer here, as oh, that's a bit of a misbailing. For all intents and purposes, Solar thinks this is your standard +1 speed Roach. Although, okay, I guess yeah, Roaches are running on the other side of the map. There we go.
He bit down on this hard. He thought it was. He started the layer. He just now starts up a couple of spines, but this is a pretty short rush distance to get from third to third. This does not take long to arrive, and I am very worried right now for Solar. He's got the +1 missile, but it's nullified by that Carapace. This is the timing that DRG was looking to hit. A lot of banelings. Oh, they all blow up on one another. DRG, though, he needs to focus on either killing the third or going straight down the natural. He's going to go for the natural itself, and I don't blame him. And he's just going to take game number 1 right here, right now. DRG comes in with some big mind games in game number 1 and will steal the game for himself. Gives himself a chance in this group.
Yeah, nice move from Solar on the other side of the map. I think he snuck banelings, I think, into the third base. Got 9 workers. But realistically, it's one of those things, right? Your opponent's all in. You're trying to win with one big fight. In contrast, actually, we talked about the Creator all-in versus Rainer, where it's about grinding your opponent down over about 4 minutes when you make that happen. That's okay. Yeah, okay, getting a run by into the natural, killing off workers, it's important there because the reinforcements, right? That's what's important. In a game like this, it's the big sledgehammer. It's the Roaches. Yes, okay, you can follow up Bling, sure, but it's that big sledgehammer at the front that is supposed to either win the game or not at all. So yes, it was only 2 banelings, but it feels like almost you might have preferred to have that one at the front. The worker damage didn't really impact things, or it was never going to impact things.
Yeah, exactly. The little counterattack, and it just shows that he didn't necessarily have the greatest read on the game. Really unfortunate for him, but good job from DRG. Now, cover your ears if you're not, you don't want the spoilers. I'm gonna give you a sec. But this is very good news for Serral. Mm-hmm. Very bad news for Solar, and actually some bad news for DRG is that Serral is actually up 1-0 over a laser now.
Yeah, so that makes it much harder now for DRG to advance, but we're going to see if you got to win here to have a shot. So let's see if he can do it. If he can get those 2 maps, that +2 map differential, that make it maybe more possible. But for now, folks, game number 2 is Royal Blood, a much shorter map. Let's see what happens. In the upper right, in the blue, he's up a game in this series, trying to give himself every opportunity to advance. DRG.
And his opponent spawning down on the bottom left for Onside Gaming, trying to keep his own hopes alive. It is the red Zerg player, Solar. So, okay, you were talking about the evolution. I want to talk about this a little bit, just to give a little bit of, a little bit of flavor for ZVZ and how the all-ins work and how fooling an opponent works. Because ZVZ is the matchup where trickery and all-ins are the most effective of all the matchups. TVT, ZVZ, PvP, ZVT, PvZ, PvT? Did I say? I don't know. All of them. All of the ones. This is the one where you can fool the opponent most thoroughly because there are so many things. It's rather difficult to get scouts. It's very razor's edge. Static defenses are good, but Zerg has the weakest static defenses in terms of like trying to build them reactively unless you have a really good read on what your opponent. It's very difficult to get those full reads, and that's why we do hold Serral in high regard. And that's also why, though, he struggles a little bit in his matchup when things change, because he relies a lot on scouting. But there's the framework. For the build, why players don't do the 14, 13, 12 anymore is that now that it has been figured out a little bit, players know that the hatchery comes down 7 seconds later with the 7 seconds earlier with a 14, 13, 12. No, it's a 7 seconds. Basically, it finishes up a little bit faster. You can see the creep. You compare your creep to theirs. Yeah, sorry, it's earlier. The hatch comes out earlier. Yes. You compare their creep to your creep to theirs. and you can tell and know that it's different. Sorry, what I'm thinking of is Dolan, the NA Terran player. I played him the other day, and he with his Zerg, and his hatchery finished 7 seconds later, and I was like, oh, what is this? And it was a speedling flood. So that's where I got my wires crossed. But you look at the creep, you see that it's too early, and you're able to deduce pretty easily that it's that all in. So that's why players don't do that as much.
Yeah, again, things get figured out, and of course you also you check the natural if it's wiggling. Okay, yeah. If there's no queen on the way, absolutely what it is, because there are some builds that you do get that early hatch, try to fake your opponent out. The other thing to say that, of course, Steadfast, is builds like that, sometimes they leave the zeitgeist for a while and they become powerful because they're just not there. But Solar is taking an opportunity here. 28 drones is that inflection point. You drone up, do you make lings? And he's making 12 of them. Baneling Nest is just going to complete. And while, yes, he is droning behind this, this is, again, that higher level of committed pressure that we saw from him in game 1 compared to what we might normally see.
Yeah, and something very interesting, once again, DRG goes for the hidden Baneling Nest once more. Solar does not see it. DRG has 3 Banelings on the way, and Solar has been baited into this aggression once again. But is it a bait, or is it going to be successful? Looks like for now, no, it is in fact a successful bait out of DRG. Maybe Solar was always going to put on this aggression, but I think that this was another maybe bit of a reaction. So nice job overall from DRG. I'm going to give him the credit on this. Oh, Baneling's coming in from the side. Oh, he cancels one of his opponent's Banes. Again, this is looking so dangerous. He gets the manual detonation. It's a pretty good one. Baneling will get target fire down. There's a few too many lanes here for DRG. This is looking very scary. There is a, well, DRG is droning up behind this, but this is 2 queens that have fallen. And if he gets the 3rd queen, this guts the production of Solar. Oh, it's very close, Solar, but it will survive.
Yeah, great micro there from Solar. Even still, yeah, 2 queens, a bunch of lings. You don't get work is fine. That is massive. Queens, we talk about how important queens are in any Zerg matchup, right? Especially in ZVZ, because you have the same production as your opponent. You can't go and build another, you can't afford to build another hatch in this setup. You do have to make sure you have those injects. So having 2 more injects than your opponent is perhaps the biggest thing ever. And I know, Steadfast, I know you're really hoping that this layer gets canceled. I don't think so, not this time.
It looks like a fake layer because this is a 2-gas roach play, but DRG, I think, is going for the double bluff here, where he's like, oh, you see my layer just starting up, and he's trying to keep his opponent in the dark. This is a very kind of wild and wonky ZBZ. There's very clearly a lot of mind games at play.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's actually now going to be Solar going for that Carapace all in. And you said all roads lead to Carapace all in. I mean, yeah, the Korean Zergs are loving this because it's such a difficult thing to identify. But we see DRG getting the scout. Solar did not have the gas for a fake layer here. That's actually pretty big because now I think DRG should drop multiple spines. Yeah, there we go. 2 spines coming on down. He does build a lot of overlords. He actually, a little bit of a laser lord situation right here. He's going to be way oversupplied, and he kind of needed that money for roaches. Actually, he definitely needed that money for roaches. He might just be dead. He's got roach speed on the way. This is looking so brutal. The army supply is huge.
And it is. I mean, if he buys time, sure, fine. And the queens, there's that queen count, so Banelings are now going to get targeted down. Lings find their way into the main base, and this is a massive move. But the Banelings do get pretty good connections, Steadfast, softening up a lot of these roaches. Even still, you're right. It's a significant army supply lead, and with the queens to the front, that defender's advantage is not going to be quite as strong as it might otherwise be. Again, lacking the production there. Lings in the main base. Drones have to get pulled into the natural, so economy is hurt. Yes, Spines defend the 3rd base, but here comes Solar into the natural. +1 range is not yet done, so these are Carapace roaches, Carapace Lings against, well, nothing to equalize. Even still, though, at the end of the day, the Lings in the main base are a problem, but we have Solar backing up. DRG is starting to build some level of an army supply, but here come more Banes into the natural, and where are the roaches to defend? They're going to tap down a couple. That is so many drones! How good are the splits? DRG 8 workers go down. It's going to be maybe just a little bit more. No, 10 at the end of the day, but they are so low, and that is enough to justify the timing.
It is, but this was so weird. I think Solar could have killed him with just full reinforcements if he goes up the gut through the natural. Now, the spines did get time to finish. That wasn't the target that DRG or that Solar went for. But I really feel like Solar could have maybe ended the game there. He did something weird where he droned during it and then committed to more Banes and then more units behind it. Now, it's good that he doesn't over-drone because he could have died right now to the counterattack, but it also means he was in a position to maybe just win the game outright, and instead now the game is going to go a little bit further. Now, some of these drones are still a little bit bruised up, so these lanes that will get in, there we go, already one of the wounded drones getting target fire down. Another, oh, just barely saves that drone. Still, this is a good situation for Solar, but considering it could have been the game over, I wonder if it would have been better for him to just keep attacking.
Yeah, kind of a I mean, I understand.
It's a very weird game.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for not, but it's just a weird. I think he still probably has this game. He's up 15 roaches right now, and he's going to have a 1-1 timing well before his opponent's +2 missile finishes, which is going to be a really nice advantage for him. A great opportunity to close it out, and I think he's going for that. But I think it's all going to work out. I don't want to be too critical.
Yeah, again, I understand. Win ahead, get more ahead. You feel like you've done enough damage, and in fairness, when he pulled back, the army supply of DRG was starting to equalize. Like, he was starting to have enough roaches to make it not just a surefire victory. So I understand, but yeah, here's the big push. He's up 30 army supply. He's up so many roaches. It's 51 to up 20 roaches here as the Spines have to reposition. Now, Solar does, or DRG does have some Ravagers, and that does complicate things a little bit. But if you just dive on top of it, you dodge the miles like that, who really cares? The Spines are going to finish burrowing, but by the time they've done so, everything else is going to be dead. Superior upgrades, superior supply, superior everything. Folks, we're about to go to game number 3, and that is such sad news for DRG.
It is not great news for DRG at all. I didn't run all the scenarios, so I'm not sure if this eliminates him, but it's definitely bad news for him. Great news for Solar because he does his best to keep his chances alive. Overall, man, what a weird game that was. That was a very strange game overall. I think, okay, yeah, DRG is officially eliminated, but I think it's actually external of anything else.
It is I think it was, no.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he was eliminated regardless because of
other results. Yeah.
Yes. So, well, I mean, it's still rough, but yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone is probably watching because that is the big point, is that Cyril was able to 2-0 a laser, and I believe that locks up a playoff spot for Cyril.
No, it doesn't. No, it's still not confirmed, right? If I don't have the math in front of me, but Solar is still.
No, it does for it. It has to.
No. Well.
No. Special can still miss the playoffs. Solar can still make the playoffs over Special, but he can't make it over Cyril, I think.
Yeah, because map differential.
Map differential is too high. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Cyril's in the playoffs now. He's officially in the playoffs, but Solar can still make it through.
Yeah. That'll be fun. More Zergs in the round of 12, maybe. But folks, we're gonna have to see what happens as we move in to game number. There we go. Game number 3. In the upper left, in the red, again with his life in his hands, looking to lock in a playoff spot. Solar.
And his opponent, at this point, he is playing for spoiler. For Team NV, it is DRG. Because, okay, so if Solar does not win here, even if Special loses, Solar would be out, because Solar would be 2-3 in series, and Special would be 3-2 even if he loses to Hero. So this is still Solar like in a must-win situation in order to keep his playoff hopes alive. As for the other results, we won't spoil them for now, but I mean, you can definitely check out Special versus Hero on, I believe, the C stream. But obviously, you know, stay here, listen in, watch this. This has been a pretty wild series already. And with all the trickery that's happened so far, it's really understandable that Cyril lost to both of these guys, you know? Like, they are both pulling out a lot of sleight of hand, some very strange stuff that's super difficult to nail down.
Oh, it really is. And I guess the question here, we know, Special lives in Korea. He is great friends with TY, but the question now is how much is he friends with DRG, right? Because again, DRG doesn't have a ton to play. Well, he obviously you want to win. $300. It might change 4 through 6 seeding, but is he going to be Special's best friend? Remember, Special was Ryung's best friend at last Katowice, taking down Oliveira to make sure that Ryung advanced. Karma says that DRG is going to win this game. That's just how that works, right?
I mean, that would be a little bit of neat karmic justice if he got a little bit of help externally after providing it last year. That would actually be really cool. By the way, okay, we've got our first deviation in the series. So DRG, he is going for a 2-base Muta setup. This is the same thing he did that got him a big advantage in game number 1 and allowed him to take down Serral. And what I mean by that is he's gone for a very quick 4-queen opening. It is a different setup than what he did, because in this game he's hidden the Baneling Nest, but it's a similar concept. Now, hang on, we're seeing a lot of Lings being built with this. Okay, yeah, this is actually meant to look. Yes, yeah. This is meant to look like the build he did. And you know what? It is working.
Solar, yeah.
Yes. Solar built an Evo chamber and he's getting +1 Carapace. He's got no idea. This might just kill Solar outright. What a great build order choice from DRG, using old series to win potentially new ones.
Here's the weird, he's droning behind this Steadfast. He's getting a third. You would have thought he would have committed really hard to this, and he still has potential, but this is like a fake of a fake.
I mean, it's more of a transition, but there is still a lot of potential for this to either get a kill on the third base, put him ahead, as long as he scouts and sees like, hey, you're not doing anything super wild, super greedy. Oh, we do have the queens here that can target by the Banes, but they're not able to do so, but he hits all the Banes on the queens. Oh my goodness. DRG throws all the Banelings away on nothing.
And now he's pumping Lings. I guess he has a number. He goes up to 37 drones, but he's pumping 22 more Lings behind this. And okay, that's actually super interesting, right? So you have the initial commitment, and then if you back off, it looks like you're droning again. Solar's gonna see the third base on the way. Okay, fine. DRG has stopped. He's gonna go back into droning. That's how he lost the series versus a laser. There are 22 more Lings on the way, but here's the thing. Massive scout from Solar in the main base. He's going to see that there are more Lings on the way. This was just a blip of droning, as now, again, DRG commits harder. So this seems to be DRG's MO in this matchup, right? Aggression into a little bit of droning, back into that heavy aggression. But this time, his opponent actually has a good idea of what's happening.
Yeah, and this is so funny because the way they're droning and building units is so slapdash. But it's double blind, and they're both really in the dark about what each other is doing. Nice little counterattack here with the Lings. Will be able to grab a couple of drones, and good job from DRG. Keeps the Baneling alive. But during all of this, Solar, once again, we talked about the Carapace all-in. He was gearing up for a Carapace all-in, but he scouted that his opponent was building a Roach Warren. He saw no layer, so this could have been an all-in. And he's like, okay, well, I guess I drone too. And then DRG ends up droning as well. He just didn't build the layer. Like there's like layers upon layers upon layers of weirdness here. And it's just such a strange game. Ooh, Baneling going to get avoided here. Good job, but still we'll see this little Ling counterattack getting deflected. DRG, is he trying to show the roaches? Kind of feels like that. Meanwhile, he gets a fourth. I'm trying to like understand the thought process, and all I can say is that there is so much happening below the surface.
Oh yeah,
that's the big thing that really stands out to me.
If we are this confused, Steadfast, and we have full vision of everything, imagine how confused Solar is right now. Like, what? It's so weird, and I'm kind of sitting here, and I'm wondering whether this is a very, very defined build. Okay, I drone here, I build units here, I drone here.
There it is.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. So Spire on the way, but again, is this something that is very defined? Okay, I'm droning here, I'm building here, or is this again just DRG reacting back and forth? Because this doesn't feel like a clean build. But at the end of the day, right? Spire's on the way. He's got 6 gas. He's got +2 ranged on the way. So this is likely going to be for like 8 mutas for map control, for tempo, more than the 30, 40 mutas that he built against Serral. So I guess at the end of the day, it's kind of getting him where he wants to be.
It is, but this timing coming out of Solar, this 1-1 speed roach timing has so much potential to just end the day for DRG here and give Solar the best chance to make it through to the next round. We've even got a 4th base coming in from DRG. DRG, he doesn't realize that Solar has stopped building roaches. DRG, actually, hang on, he is overdroning so hard that he's getting more than, okay, well, 3 spines started up. That's too late. They are too late here. He went to 67 drones right here. This is looking, oh my God, and he cancels the Spire for a couple more units. That's maybe the right call because it probably wasn't going to get out right away, but this looks so deadly.
Yeah, so here comes the Roach to the Ravagers, the Lings. They're trying to get on top of these Ravagers ASAP, and they will do so. One Ravager falls, Transfuse keeps it alive for a second, but the second one's going to go down here as well. And DRG started to bring some of his supply back, but unfortunately, 1-1 Roaches are pretty damn strong. Everything DRG has committed to, the 4th base, the Spire that he had to cancel, the +2, the Roach speed, none of it will finish in time. Yeah, there are spines at the 3rd, but that's deep. The vulnerable underbelly of DRG's economy, of his tech, is right there, ripe for the taking. 10 drones are going to fall. There is no tech path out of this, and DRG will fall. Solar punches his ticket into the round of 12.